Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a session based on this concept of an inner voice. Almost everyone has an inner voice, and sometimes it's very subtle, so you don't really notice that you have it. But the clues tend to be there, and the clues tend to be, if I'm working with a client, they'll say something like, yeah, and I keep saying to myself that I'm just an idiot, what's the point? And they're revealing what their inner dialogue is, even if it was unconscious up to that point. So inner dialogue is simply an auditory sense that doesn't exist in reality, it only exists in your mind. And good examples of inner audio are if you listen to a song in the morning and that song is playing around in your mind for the rest of the day like an earworm. That's a good example. If I said, how does the song Happy Birthday to You go? You could literally say that inside your own head and not say it out loud and still know how that whole verse goes. Inner dialogue, though, tends to be either associated, and if it's associated, it tends to have the voice I. So if you think of an associated motivated state, I can do this, I'm going to be fine, I can succeed. That's an associated, motivated inner dialogue. But you could have a critical, disassociated inner dialogue, which might go along the lines of, you're an idiot, you messed up again, why do you even bother? And it's got you, so it's disassociated. And I tend to work a lot with these kind of disassociated and associated inner dialogues, because ideally you want to fully disassociate from the critical and associate into a resourceful state. And that's very difficult to do if the location of the critical or anxious inner dialogue is somewhere and it feels like it's in your head. Now you could say, where else could it be? And the thing is, you can have an inner dialogue coming from anywhere because it's not actually location specific. Well, what tends to happen is that if you disassociate a critical or anxious inner dialogue from the head, and let's say you put it in the thumbnail or you put it in a little finger, then what tends to happen is it frees up the space for an alternative voice. So if you think of cartoons where one of the characters is faced with a dilemma, quite often they'll have a devil on one shoulder, an angel on the other, and the devil's trying to convince them to do something bad, and the angel's trying to convince them to do something good. That's an example of duality of two different inner dialogues competing for an outcome. And the reason it exists in cartoons is because it exists in people's heads. People can relate to that. What you're going to hear in this particular hypnosis session is the idea of utilizing an inner voice and have it working for them rather than against them. So it's almost taming that voice. If you think of an animal that tends to exist in a hierarchy, think of a dog. A dog in a house without a clear pack leader can easily think it is the pack leader, and it can start barking at children and adults and doing whatever it wants until it is placed in the hierarchy beneath someone more dominant, and then it tends to be more compliant. That is also the true of these inner voices. Left unchecked, they will think they are all-powerful and that you simply have to do what they're telling you to do, but you don't. And this is all about regaining control of these inner voices to have them work for you rather than against you. If you feel like you might need help with this, there's a link in the show notes that you can have a chat with me completely free for about 30 minutes, also to explore working with me. But equally, you might find that this session, albeit that it was created for someone else, might give you some insight to your own inner voice and be helpful in some way. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in, just imagine breathing in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of stress or tension or worry to feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath. Breathing in that resourceful feeling of relaxation and exhaling tension. As you breathe in and breathe out, just scan your body for any feelings of tension, stress or anxiety. And almost imagine them as being like crystals of ice locked into your muscle tissue. As you breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation, just imagine a warm color like orange. Imagine breathing in that warm orange color of resourcefulness. And imagine that orange color going into your lungs. Imagine your heart taking that orange color of resourcefulness, distributing it to every cell in your body. And then just imagine that it is melting away feelings of stress, tension, anxiety. So that as you exhale, it's not an orange color that's leaving your body. Just imagine a darker color, a grayish color. Seeing the tension, the stress, the anxiety leaving your body in that outward breath, enabling you to feel deeper and deeper relaxed. As you consider that orange going in and that grey colour leaving your body, almost like a transfusion of emotions. The resources you need most are going in, and those things that have been holding you back are leaving your body. That's right. As your body relaxes, I want you to imagine perhaps a picture that you've taken of a mountain range in Snowdonia. Maybe it was the scenery, maybe the landscape. Imagine one particular picture and then just imagine what it would be like to jump into that picture and find yourself there wearing whatever clothing is appropriate to be in that mountain range in Snowdonia. Imagine it's a sunny day, and imagine that the sun is warm and you can feel the warmth of your sun melting away all of those crystals of ice that represent tension or stress locked into your muscle tissue. As you continue to breathe in that orange color of resourcefulness, feeling the sun on your skin, feeling that tension, stress, anxiety is continuing to leave your body. That's right. And imagine how good it would feel as you just breathe in and breathe out and get an increasing sense that change is taking place. I want you to imagine somewhere on that mountain range, bizarrely is a door, not connected to a building, but just a door, almost hovering there. Maybe it's a wooden door, maybe a futuristic door. And I want you to imagine standing in front of the door there on that mountain range. As I count down from 5 to 1, you will imagine opening the door and walking through the door and finding yourself in an empty room with a very comfortable chair. 5, just imagine putting your hand on the handle. 4, turning the handle. 3, opening the door. 2, walking through the door. And 1, closing the door behind you as you're no longer on that mountain range. You're just there in a well-lit, empty room, seeing the most comfortable chair. And I want you to imagine sitting down on that comfortable chair and just seeing a large screen in front of you, maybe a big flat screen TV. Notice that you feel deeper and deeper relaxed. And I want you to imagine that that flat screen TV represents your future. And I want you to see a future with more possibilities and more opportunities based on the changes that will continue to happen as I give direct suggestions to your unconscious mind. And the first suggestion is that for a long while there's been a voice inside your head encouraging you to do things that are a source of gratification. Gratification for many people is short-term pleasure and perhaps longer-term frustration or pain. And I want you to acknowledge that it's trying to give more joy, more fun, more feelings of satisfaction in your life, but in doing it in the way that it's been doing it has led to more inner conflict and frustration, a feeling of taking 2 steps forward and then 2 steps back. And I want you to be empowered now to be able to shift the location of that voice whenever you choose to, perhaps to a location like a thumbnail. And in doing so, you're communicating that you appreciate this voice, but only if it is there to help. If the voice is trying to control you, you'll have to pull rank. Let this voice know that it is a part of you, and it is there to help you, not to control you. Enough is enough. You will not tolerate that anymore. And I want you to imagine what it would be like just to shift that voice. Whenever you hear it in that location, shift it to your thumbnail, imagining that the voice has got a different location but also a different tonality, shifting from a controlling voice to a helpful voice. And if you could imagine that taking place, that whenever you choose to, you just shift the location, much like if a dog climbed up on a high piece of furniture at any point in time, you could just put it back down on the ground level. But if you can imagine that happening from your head to your thumbnail, just let me know by nodding your head. That's right. And in doing so, you are asserting cognitive dominance. This voice is there to help you, not to control you. And in doing so, you have unlocked a powerful opportunity to create a new resource. Because I want you to imagine that inner voice that once encouraged you to eat junk food now shift its location from inside your head to your thumbnail, almost like it's a separate entity. As you hear this voice in your thumbnail, notice how it transforms from controlling and persuasive to incredibly helpful and supportive. This is not a demotion, this is a promotion for this voice. It's going from that annoying voice that every now and then you would let win to your trusted ally, guiding you towards not just healthier choices, but inspiring you to make positive changes in your life. I want you to feel a sense of empowerment as this voice becomes a source of motivation, but also inspiration, coming up with new ideas that don't have to be anything related to food. It's your job to train this new voice, to let it know when it's helpful, and also let it know when it isn't. And if it goes back to its old ways of trying to encourage you to eat crap food, you could just reply with, "Sorry, that's not helpful." And in doing so, you're coaching the voice to become more and more beneficial, helpful, and supportive. But also you will be willing to be encouraging and supportive when it does come up with valuable, helpful information or perhaps a great idea. You won't hold back on the encouragement. "Well done, that's a great idea. I could really use that. Thank you." And in doing so, you are rewarding this inner voice when it helps you Whereas in the past, you've rewarded this inner voice when it controlled you. And if you're happy to be part of this changing dynamic, just let me know by nodding your head. That's right. I want you to embrace this inner voice as a symbol of transformation, representing a shift in your mindset towards a healthier and more fulfilling lifestyle, but also a source of never-ending ideas. Allow this voice to remind you of your goals, aspirations, and the positive impact that making healthy choices has on your life. And use that screen in front of you to visualize yourself effortlessly making healthy food choices as the encouraging voice in your thumbnail motivates and uplifts you. Embrace the sense of liberation as you break free from the influence of the old controlling inner voice and embrace the new supportive and inspiring one. See on that screen your progress as the days turn into weeks and weeks turn into months, as you feel a deep sense of pride and accomplishment, as not just your body and your health improves, but also your relationship with yourself improves. And perhaps you can see a future where just one idea helps you improve your future dramatically. The encouraging voice in your thumbnail is always by your side, offering support and guidance and help whenever you need it. As you listen to this voice, you feel a sense of clarity and focus, making it easier for you to make wise decisions regarding your eating habits. And as the voice becomes more helpful, trust grows. And trust in this inner voice as a reliable source of encouragement and inspiration helps you to have even more confidence that there are different parts of your brain that you're training to help move your life in the very direction of positive, fulfilling fulfillment. With the help of this supportive voice, you effortlessly embrace healthier habits, finding joy in nourishing your body with wholesome foods, but always ready for that eureka moment of powerful inspiration. This inner voice is now your companion on your journey to health and wellness, but also a transition towards the best possible version of you, providing you with the strength and motivation to overcome any challenges that arise. This is now your personal assistant, your creativity generator, your source of inspiration whenever you need it most. At any point in time, if it goes back to the old controlling voice in that old location, just know, just with a quick sound like whoosh, you can shift the location from inside your head to your thumbnail in a moment's notice. It is your job to train this voice, to encourage this voice, to have it work for you rather than against you. And I want you to feel a renewed sense of self-worth as you listen to this encouraging voice, but also know that you have a second voice inside your head, which is now you at your most confident and determined. You have a voice that helps, and you have this independent, strong voice that knows what you want, and these voices will work in harmony to move your life in a positive, powerful direction. I want you to see on that screen in front of you what your life could be like 1 year from now. Not just missing this controlling voice, but having this controlling voice now be a voice of help and inspiration. See what it's done to your health, your career, your finances, your friendships, your relationships. I want you to see a compelling vision of your future where all along this voice was influential and powerful, but working against your better interests, a conflicted voice, whereas now it becomes your second in command, your lieutenant, your Sir Lancelot, your trusted ally. And if you can see a compelling vision of the future where your future is better because of this voice, working in harmony, helping, inspiring you, let me know by nodding your head. And if you're willing to take the responsibility to guide and coach and train this voice so that it stops controlling you and starts helping you in the way that you now know is possible, also let me know by nodding your head. That's it. I want you to feel a wonderful sense of excitement at a compelling future, the wonderful possibilities, knowing that creativity and inspiration is an infinite resource. You can never run out of ideas. Your time becomes your scarce resource, becoming discerning about which ideas you will turn into reality, which ideas you will implement, and what help you will actually put to use. Breathe in and breathe out, and then leave that comfortable chair, leave that screen with your future. As you leave the door, you find yourself back on the wonderful mountain range of Snowdonia. Breathe in that fresh air, but feel like something's changed. And just check that that voice is coming from your thumbnail that is helping you to guide your life towards your potential. And when it does, it's now time to go home. As you imagine you're looking at a picture of a Snowdonia mountain range, but then also accepting that even that is just a thought within a thought, an idea within an idea, a dream within a dream, as you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose, returning to the present. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, feeling a wonderful sense that a hierarchy has changed. A controlling, bullying voice could now be your right-hand man. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.